Our schools were not carved in stone. They were built by people with a specific purpose in mind for a specific time. We often think of them as permanent, as the only way to educate our children. But this is not true. The system of bells, separate subjects, and age-based classes is a human invention. It was designed for the industrial age, a time that needed workers who followed instructions and worked in straight lines. It was a system built on compliance, not on creativity. The values of that era are embedded in the very walls and timetables of our schools today, shaping how we think about intelligence and success. We must understand this history to imagine a different future. The structures we have inherited are not natural laws, they are choices. And because they are choices, we can make new ones. The world has changed dramatically since these schools were first designed. We no longer live in an industrial economy, but a global, digital one. The challenges we face, from climate change to social division, require a different kind of human being. They require people who are creative, compassionate, collaborative, and critical thinkers. Our current system was not built to nurture these essential qualities. So we find ourselves at a crossroads. We can continue to patch up a system that is fundamentally outdated, a relic of a bygone era. Or we can be brave enough to ask a fundamental question: what is education for? If we start there, we open up a world of possibilities. We can begin to dream of schools that are not factories for conformity, but gardens for human flourishing. Schools that see every child as a unique individual, filled with immense potential. This is not just a nice idea, it is a necessary evolution for the survival and thriving of our communities and our planet. The first step is to question everything we take for granted. Why are children grouped by age and not by interest or passion? Why is learning confined to a classroom and a specific set of hours? Why do we value certain academic subjects over the arts and humanities? These are not difficult questions, but they are powerful ones. By asking them, we loosen the grip of the old blueprint. We create the mental and emotional space to design something new, something that truly serves the children of today and prepares them for the world of tomorrow, a world we can only begin to imagine. To build something new, we must start not with bricks and mortar, but with people. A genuinely just and equitable education system is, above all, a learner-centered one. This means it is designed around the needs, curiosities, and dreams of the young people it serves. It sees them not as empty vessels to be filled with information, but as active, creative agents in their own learning journey. This simple shift in perspective is revolutionary. It changes everything. It means we must design schools with our children, not just for them. It asks us to put their humanity at the very core of the educational enterprise. Imagine a school district that decides to design a new kind of school. Where do they begin? The traditional approach would be to gather a small group of experts, administrators and architects, who would draw up plans based on established models. But a more courageous district would do something different. It would start with a period of deep and profound listening. It would seek to understand the community it serves in all its complexity and diversity. It would ask questions, and more importantly, it would create spaces where people feel safe enough to give honest answers about their hopes, fears, and experiences with education. The process begins by asking a critical question: who is in this conversation? And just as importantly, who is not? In any community, there are voices that are often heard and voices that are consistently silenced. These might be the voices of low-income families, recent immigrants, students with disabilities, or those from minority ethnic groups. A truly equitable design process makes a radical effort to seek out these unheard voices. It doesn't just invite them to the table, it goes to where they are, listens on their terms, and ensures their wisdom is central to the conversation. This is not about ticking boxes for community engagement. It is a fundamental belief that everyone has a piece of the truth. A parent working 2 jobs has a unique insight into the pressures on their child. A student who feels invisible in a large school has a powerful perspective on what needs to change. A local artist sees possibilities for creativity that an administrator might miss. By bringing all these perspectives together, we move beyond the narrow confines of old assumptions and begin to build a new foundation, one that is strong because it is made of the collective wisdom of the entire community. When a design team for a new school truly reflects the community, something magical happens. Let's return to our story. The district forms a design team that includes not just teachers and principals, but also students, parents, grandparents, local business owners, artists, scientists, and community elders. They bring together people who have never been in the same room to talk about education. At first, the conversations might be difficult. People come with different experiences, different priorities, and sometimes different pains from their own time in school. The process requires patience and empathy. But as they continue to listen to one another, a richer, more complete picture of what the community needs begins to emerge. The parent of a child with special needs speaks about the need for quiet spaces and flexible schedules, challenging the idea that all learning must happen in a bustling classroom. A student shares their anxiety about standardized tests, prompting a conversation about more meaningful ways to assess growth and understanding. A local entrepreneur talks about the importance of collaboration and problem-solving skills, questioning the focus on individual, competitive work. Each voice adds a vital layer of understanding. This is what radical inclusion looks like in practice. It is the deliberate act of seeking out and valuing perspectives that are usually left on the margins. The team might hear from a family experiencing homelessness about the need for the school to be a stable hub, offering meals and support beyond academics. They might learn from Indigenous elders about educational traditions that connect learning to nature and community responsibility. These are not fringe ideas. They are essential insights that lead to a better design for everyone. A school that has a quiet room for an anxious child is also a better school for a child who just needs a moment to think. Through this process, the team designs a school that is fundamentally different. It might have flexible learning spaces instead of rigid classrooms. It might have a schedule that allows for deep dives into projects and apprenticeships in the community. It might have a garden, a kitchen, and a workshop, recognizing that intelligence is diverse and manifests in many ways. This school is not the product of one expert's vision. It is a tapestry woven from the threads of many different lives, experiences, and dreams. It is stronger, more resilient, and more beautiful because of it. What can we learn from this story of collaborative design? The lessons are profound and can be applied everywhere. First, we must always question our assumptions. The way school is today is not the only way it can be. By challenging the old rules, we create the possibility for something far better to emerge. We must have the courage to ask why and the imagination to ask what if. This is the starting point for all meaningful innovation in education, and indeed, in any field of human endeavor. It is the spirit of curiosity that we must rekindle in our systems. Second, we must put learners and their humanity at the absolute center of everything we do. Education is not a mechanical process. It is a human one. It is about helping young people discover who they are and what they can contribute to the world. This requires us to prioritize their well-being, their interests, and their unique talents. An equitable system is one that recognizes and nurtures the potential in every single child, not just a select few. It celebrates diversity not as a problem to be managed, but as the very source of our collective strength and creativity. Third, we must embrace deep, authentic collaboration. The challenges facing education are too complex for any one group to solve alone. We need to break down the silos between schools and communities, between experts and the people they serve. The future of education will be designed in community meetings, in living rooms, and in public spaces, not just in boardrooms. This requires a new kind of leadership, one that is based on facilitating conversation and building consensus rather than issuing top-down directives. It is about trusting in the collective wisdom of the group. Finally, we must practice the art of deep listening, especially to those who are rarely heard. This is the heart of creating a system that is truly for everyone. A school designed with the input of the most marginalized members of a community will inevitably be a better school for all. It will be more compassionate, more flexible, and more responsive to human needs. Let us, therefore, have the courage to imagine and build these new schools, schools designed not for a past that is gone, but for a future that is waiting to be created by all of our children.